Welcome to the first edition of VB University, and today's topic, progressive overload, done the right way. So grab your lifting straps, let's dive right in. The problem, if you feel beat up, your lifts are not getting better, you're not getting stronger, the reps aren't going up, and you're repeating the same crap every single week, well, news to you, it's not your age. Cheers to that. The problem is you don't understand adaptations. And that's what I'm here to teach you today. The law of adaptation. Your body adapts to stress. We know that, don't we? But only if the stimulus is greater than the recovery capacity. And recovery is sufficient to be able to rebuild muscle. There are three physiological components happening when you train. We have mechanical tension, we have muscle damage, and fatigue, both systemic and local. Now, mechanical tension, this is the primary driver of muscle growth. It's created by quite a few different things. The load, the amount of weight that you're using, controlled reps, think your tempo and your time under tension, and proximity to failure. Remember those reps in reserve, those reps near failure. Now notice I didn't say ego weight, I didn't say sloppy reps. Get rid of that crap because it's not welcome here. Number two, muscle damage. When you work out, you do not in fact grow muscle tissue. You actually do quite the opposite. You create small micro tears from your training. Now, that's a good thing. Too much will delay recovery. You don't grow from excess damage to the muscle. You grow from adaptation after the recovery. So this means you create the right amount of trauma to the muscle. You get the right amount of recovery and you grow some pretty damn nice muscle. Now, three, fatigue. Now, this is broken up into two sections. We have systemic fatigue and we've got local fatigue. Local fatigue is like that muscle burn. Think of a hamstring curl. You're going to feel it directly on your hamstrings. Systemic fatigue, this is nervous system stress. Think of doing a deadlift. Your entire body is taxed afterwards. This is why we can't do heavy deadlifts or heavy lifts of the same compound every single day. You're going to notice the weight, the load's going to drop off. You're not going to have the energy to do so. You're not going to recover fast enough. These should be specifically timed into your program. If systemic fatigue accumulates too fast, you're going to notice your sleep's going to fall to crap. Your strength is going to plateau or drop. Your joints are going to feel like garbage. I don't know if you've been there, but I sure have, and it's not fun. And your motivation overall is just going to start to dip because things aren't lining up. It doesn't feel aligned when you're training. It feels like you're going uphill with the weight slung to your back. This is where most guys fail when they're above 35. When you're in your 20s, you could throw spaghetti at the wall and it's going to stick, right? Anything you do, you're going to grow muscle tissue. Well, as you get older, and I hate to use age, but it is a factor, shit just doesn't recover the same way. So if you're training like you're 22 and you're recovering like you're 42, you're in for a bad treat. We need to build alignment here. Now, what do most men do wrong here? They add weight way too soon. They think more weight means more. No, not at all. They train to failure constantly. I had a terrible habit of this when I was younger. I loved training to failure and it felt good, but I also didn't recover. So then it didn't feel good after a while. Or they ignore rep quality. They start loading up weight. They say, screw form, screw range of motion. I'm just getting reps for the sake of reps. No. Quickest way to injury, plateau, and looking like a dummy in the gym, to be completely honest with you. Or guys who are not tracking their progress. If you're not tracking, there's no way you're going to know whether you're improving. Or if you're stalling, you might be feeling great every workout, but when you actually zoom out and look at it, you haven't gone up a pound or a rep in 6 months. This is why we track, so we can intentionally, progressively overload the reps, the weight, or both. Or guys who just never deload. Deloads are very intentional. Now, this is the caveat. If you're not training hard enough and you're not getting into those reps in reserve near failure, you're probably never going to need a deload because you're not training hard enough for your body to actually ask for it. This will create a mix between high fatigue and low adaptation. All that's really going to equal is joint pain and stalled out progress. Now, the adaptation model. Growth, and I want you to remember this, growth equals stimulus minus excess fatigue. Notice I didn't say growth equals maximum effort. You can be amped up. You can take all the pre-workout you want. You can scream in the gym, throw weight around. Does not mean you're going to progressively overload. Actually, it'll probably mean quite the opposite because you're going to piss people off and get kicked out, or you're just going to injure yourself, neither of which is going to build more muscle tissue. More is not better. Better is better. The Vision-built progressive overload model. I'm going to break this down into 3 steps here. Step 1, I want you to own the rep. Before you ever focus on adding weight, we need to make sure that the reps actually look proper. Keep your tempo at a 2 to 3 second negative. So I'm talking not 1, 2, 3, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Control the entire rep, not the positive, not the negative, but the positive, the negative, the stretch, and the squeeze. 4 parts to 1 rep. Control the whole damn thing. Make sure you're getting a full range of motion, not skimped reps, not quarter reps, not where it feels good, the entire range of motion. And make sure that you can stably brace through the exercise. If you're going heavy, you're going to be working your core quite a bit. Your core also needs to strengthen along the way. You are only as strong as your weakest link. So if your core is weak and unstable, your reps will only go so high with added weight. You're going to stall out because you have a break in the chain. Fix it. Make sure these are all perfect. Once you have this all locked in, more mechanical tension through controlled reps is going to equal less joint stress and a lot less sloppy loading. So you'll be able to actually go up in weight and feel good about it, not feel unsafe or scared to do so. Now, step 2, the double progression system. It's simple, and it doesn't have to be specific to these numbers. I actually don't want you to hold on to these numbers. This is just a great example to give to you to understand a typical progression. Week 1, let me pull back here really quickly. Say it says that you need to get 8 to 10 reps in a working set. Week 1, boom, you slap the weight on, you get 8 reps. Fantastic. Week 2, keep the same weight. Get 9 reps or more. Say you land at 9 reps. Now week 3, keep the exact same weight, but you're going to get 10 or more reps. Say you end at 10. Perfect. Week 4, now I'm going to increase the weight up marginally, and I'm likely going to fall right back down to around those 8 reps. I'm going to repeat this pattern. Big PS over here, asterisk, bold letters. Do not be afraid of 2.5 pound weights. I have built a massive career off of using those damn 2.5 pound plates. Not everything needs to slap on another 45 or a 25 because it looks cool. If you add a 2.5 to each side, and that's 5 pounds, and you go up in weight 5 pounds, and then you add reps, and then you keep going up, that will equal a massive gain over time, and you're going to prevent a lot of injury in the process. If your muscles start to get too strong too fast, which they will, muscle gets strong real freaking fast, it adapts fast, but your tendons are not catching up, this is going to create a problem. This is where most guys come to me and they say, man, my shoulder is jacked up, or my hip is jacked up, my knee, whatever the case may be, because they got too damn strong for their own good too soon. I'm not saying you don't need to get this strong or that you shouldn't or you can't, but you need to do it in a proper progression. Stop slapping on 25s and 45s and just going balls to the wall, increment it up. Just because your muscles can do more, remember those weakest links. If your tendon is not catching up, you will get to a point where you have some type of tendonitis or tendinopathy and it hurts too much to lift. And now we have to remove an exercise altogether, and that honestly just sucks. Now, step 3, train 1 to 2 reps in reserve. This is a money spot. Like I said, in my younger years, I loved training to failure, but it's not going to get you too far in time because your recovery is going to go down. RIR means reps in reserve. I want you to train anywhere near that 1 to 2 reps left before you hit full form failure. Training near failure is going to stimulate muscle growth. Training to failure constantly will spike fatigue disproportionately. You can train exercises to failure. Don't take every single working set to failure for every exercise. Pick and choose your battles here. Research shows that hypertrophy is still similar within that 0 to 2 reps of failure, which means you can leave 2 reps in the tank and still get the same stimulus to grow muscle tissue than you did if you went all the way to failure, but you would create a lot more stimulus with a lot less fatigue by stopping just a little bit shy. Same stimulus, less systemic cost, makes it a lot more efficient. Now, the connective tissue reality. Like I said before, muscle grows a lot faster than tendons and ligaments. Muscle, 24 to 72 hours. Tendons and ligaments, they're a lot slower. They can be a lot slower, to be honest. When you overload too aggressively, you're not just going to tear muscle. You inflame these tendons, and gosh, they get so pissed. If you've ever been there where your shoulder's jacked up and it hurts to lift your arm up and any type of lateral raise, or it hurt, you've wiped out half the exercises you can do. Just avoid this by doing things in the right manner at the right timing. We don't want your elbows hurting, your knees aching, your shoulders clicking, like none of that stuff. That is just because you're loading too fast in the tendons and the ligaments. They're just not used to it. Now, to put this into your real life, the reason why I'm teaching you progressive overload the right way is because, look, this isn't your full-time job to lift. This is to better your lifestyle. If you work 10 to 12 hours a day, you carry a lot of physical stress, your sleep is 6 hours, maybe even less, you have a lot of business pressure, you can't train like a bodybuilder who can take things to all-out failure, maximize everything, because you're going to be worthless through the rest of the day and the other things that really matter in your day. We need a high stimulus, and we need to remove any unnecessary fatigue. This here, that's the vitality model that I'm teaching. Now, to implement it into your week, I want you to slow down your eccentrics on every lift, 2 to 3 full seconds. Remember, 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. That should be on a bench press, the lowering phase. On a lat pull down, the raising phase. 2 to 3 seconds. I want you to leave 2 reps in reserve. If you can push more, that's okay. Save it for the next set. Go a little bit heavier if you can, and still keep it between that 1 to 2 reps in reserve. Add reps to the top of your limit before you add weight. Once you're there, then add the weight. And I want you tracking your numbers. If you're not tracking, you're guessing. I don't care how good your memory is, you're gonna forget some of these exercises, and some of this, you're gonna leave gains on the table, and I don't want that for you. I want you to get freaking strong, jacked, crazy, and I want you to do it the easiest way possible. That's it. Now, my one action step to leave you forward, if nothing else, I want you to just focus on getting to that reps in reserve that we talked about. If you're like, dude, I can't remember what he said about tempo, about this, just get to that 1 to 2, because until you get there, you're not creating enough stimulus for the muscle to say, I have to grow. There's one thing about overtraining, but there's also another about undertraining. If you're leaving too many reps on the table, you're just never gonna get to that point where your muscle has to grow. I want that to be your standard. This here is progressive overload done the right way. Thanks for tuning in. Coach Ross out.